Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver. Today on the show, I have Jesse Welch, investment banker in the real estate space. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I feel welcome.
I see the beautiful weather over there. Where are you having this call from?
This is from West LA. I'm on my balcony
I see.
in my office. It's very. I got the power lines for the effect, so you can see that it's an urban environment. But my beautiful, I don't know what kind of plant this is. It too heavy to move anymore.
I always like to start by asking my guests how they got into the real estate space. Your journey is probably different than most as an investment banker.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, man, my background is actually in entertainment. I was a film producer in mainland China, of all places. And then I moved into tech briefly, and then I moved into capital markets, like more properly, right at the right time to do it, December of 2029. So that's when I founded MidCap Global. That went about as well as you could expect. About 2 months later, I ended up pivoting from what I was originally doing and raised some money for a private equity firm in the real estate space. That was really my first foray into it, an extremely complicated, large-scale community, luxury community on the Big Island of Hawaii, on the Kona coast. Really special project. Didn't realize how difficult it was to do real estate in that jurisdiction, or during that time. COVID was a particularly complicated time to be doing real estate in Hawaii. And then I really kind of strayed away and back into finance more properly until I got a new partner who was a former director on the REIT desk at Blackstone, and he had really deep real estate experience. And so together, we've really pushed the company forward, and it's been growing, and it's very organically moved into the real estate space, more on the luxury hospitality side, but we're doing a lot more real estate and infrastructure. And that's really not necessarily because we're targeting real estate, but because our capital sources and the products that we have just lend themselves to certain types of real estate very well, like ground up construction and development and those more complicated projects.
Do you have a specific buy box per se?
Yeah. So we're actually industry agnostic. So somebody comes with a data center, somebody comes with a luxury hotel, um, or occasionally a large scale apartment complex or something like that. Seaport, airport, those are all fine. Um, Really, or a factory. We do industrial, light industrial. Really, our buy box is we're looking for something that's at least $100 million. Um, that we want to make sure that the sponsor comes with at least 5% of the cash, 5 to 6% already ready to go, and a data room to underwrite and a project overview. From there, we can start requesting anything additional that we need. I also usually say if you're serious, there's not ever a time that's too early to reach out to us, unless of course you just have some idea, but we can actually come in even before you've acquired the land, provided it's ready to be built on. But if you just have an idea, a plan, and you're able to afford our services, which generally we're looking for somebody to have 1 year interest payment and a little bit extra ready to go up front. We can finance an acquisition. We have a lot of tools in our toolbox. We utilize um, overseas banking, some different tax advantage jurisdictions, and some investment banking techniques to put together really creative solutions. Aside from that, we do take on some of the more traditional stuff, uh, like large scale things in the United States here and there. Finding third party, we have a lot of banks that are our clients, and are looking to go a little bit outside of what the typical bank will do. But that's really our bread and butter, is that 100 million to 500 million large scale project financing.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
You mentioned before we hopped on here about a deal or a offer on a stadium. How does a deal like that come together?
Um, well, our bid wasn't accepted, so I don't know how it comes together, but I can tell you how it comes
To you.
to someone like me.
Yeah.
um, our capital sources are large capital groups, sovereign wealth funds. I mentioned we have some banks. Um, because of that, and just because of the space that we play in, we really don't play in the like large or mega cap kind of area. And then the small caps are really covered by regional community banks and a lot of private investors. So that mid cap space is what we really like, because I feel like there's opportunities to do large stuff, interesting stuff, but it's also I don't have to compete with um, Blackstone or BlackRock. And because of that, we work with a lot of pretty well-known names like uh, like Marcus, JLL, some of those, Jefferies, maybe tier two, tier three kind of investment banks that have deals on the sell side. And when they need somebody to put a bid in on a big project that is very unique, they'll reach out to us. But really, those things come together with relationships. Quite
Yeah.
frankly, as much as I would like AI to take everything over and do my job for me. I used to work in AI. That was the tech that I got into. I got out about 10 years too early. Should have another comma on my net worth. But it's extremely relational, especially at this level. I work with guys, some of our sponsors, who are guys who they're doing, small projects in the grand scheme of things, 110 million dollars, but they've won deals from Goldman Sachs. They've won deals, against some of these bigger players, and they're ready to step up and start eating at the big kids table, or well, I would call us like the medium kids table. But it's extremely relational based, so you have to be very charming at all the lunches, and just know once you meet somebody, really chase that relationship. And when you connect with somebody, we had a really spectacular. I don't want to to name drop her, but I met this woman who was we clicked. She's very sharp, very charming. She told me a little bit about what she was doing and that she wanted to bring this program to a pretty well-known firm. Um, and fast forward 2 months, she had done it. Fast forward 3 months, she had built out a pretty substantial team under her, and now I'm plugged in with a managing director at a very large um, at a very large broker dealer, a global broker dealer. And next thing you know, I'm being introduced to this guy, introduced to this guy, introduced to this guy. And then it's, hey, do you guys finance NFL stadiums? Hey, do you guys finance the purchasing of F1 teams? And, I say, yeah, well, actually, we do. What do you got for me? Um, and you might field 10 of those questions, but one of them will get to the point where you're actually putting an $800 million offer in, and um, ultimately having to turn around to your investor and saying, "Hey, it didn't work out," but it's a fun process, and you build a lot of relationships along the way.
I've heard now the exposure to multiple different industries. You mentioned AI. I think you mentioned film or production. You mentioned travel.
Yeah.
And so someone like yourself who's a multiple potential, multiple different industries that you've been a part of, is there one core skill, Jesse, that has made you successful? Or is it a culmination of a lot of things and it's not like you can point to one thing in particular?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
You gotta be gritty. You gotta be really gritty. I I mentioned I was a film producer. This was in mainland China. One day they changed a law, and it was illegal for Americans to raise money for domestic Chinese films. So I had 24 hours to leave the country. My career was over. Um, Same thing, similar thing happened in 2020. MidCap was not founded to um, it was not founded as a company that was meant to be doing real estate. Originally, the idea was that I was going to a little bit lofty, but there was hyperinflation in Argentina, and I realized I had paid a guy to develop an algorithm to use small cap, mid cap buzzword, and micro cap stock as collateral for loans. Tesla, these mega cap companies, they can do it. It's why Jeff Bezos makes $77,000 a year. Well, he takes loans on his stock, is actually what he's doing. Banks will loan on that. They wouldn't loan on that to those $1 billion market cap companies, the small ones, 500 million. And I was gonna redo all the debt in Argentina, and I was gonna save the country. Um, that was in December of 2019. I got capital groups to give us money. We issued like $50 million in loans. 2 months later, all the liquidity dries up, and I suddenly owe, I was able to kind of work my way out of it. I owe $12 million. So I'm less than bankrupt. I'm screwed. Um, I was able to, yeah, yeah, lost everything, so to speak, but was able to, make some moves, do some pivots, and ultimately get out of it. But I'm on a plane twice a month. I'm in Dubai. I'm in Switzerland. I'm in um, I'm in Spain. There's just a couple things I think that makes me a little different. If a lot of guys or girls are maybe not willing to go a little bit further, work that weekend. It's not really a great example, but if somebody wants to meet with me and shake my hand in Idaho, and that's going to be the difference between me getting a deal or not, I'll be in Idaho that afternoon. I'll go to Spain and I'll meet with people. I'll go to Switzerland for a 30-minute meeting, and that FaceTime and just that uh, expression of sincerity and showing people that I'm real and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get this deal done. and meet them at their level, yeah, it's hard. It's not like there's harder things to do in the world, right? I'm not mining coal. But 10 hours on a or 21 hours if I'm heading to Dubai on a plane just to meet with somebody for 1 hour and then 21 hours back. Not everybody's willing to do that. Not everybody's willing to go that far. Um,
Yeah.
and then being willing to learn, all the different business cultures. If I'm doing a deal in Ohio versus Idaho versus Los Angeles versus Florida versus Texas versus Switzerland or mainland China, these are very different business cultures. And there's a lot of different people that you're dealing with. And um, meeting people on their level and actually listening and being willing to go that extra mile, that's how you win. That's how you win deals. That's how you win relationships. But there's this phrase that I like. It's as shitty as that stuff is, the work works on you more than you work on it. You develop that grit that you need to where after a little while it's not such a bother that you have to get on that plane because the worst case scenario you're going to walk away with a friend or at least somebody who respects the work that you do and the effort that you're willing to put in. 5 years down the road, I'm starting to get deals and even capital from people who turned me down years ago, and out of the blue they've called me because I put in the legwork to plant those seeds, and I surround myself with people who are also gritty. Or well,
That's
everybody's got a
huge.
pretty spectacular resume other than me, but I went to Ohio State, I went to state school, and I've got some Ivy Leaguers and really impressive people around me, but they're all very hardworking, very gritty.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
That's critical. The piece you mentioned about surrounding yourself with those people, I call it growth through osmosis. It's almost unconscious. If you have that ability, or even if you don't, if you have some way where you could potentially put yourself around people, in my life, that has been the biggest single indicator of growth and potential. If I'm able to put myself just in the sphere of people who are doing or thinking or acting as if I want to be, that's been it for me. And I hear that in what you're saying as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's only so much, I was able to do a little bit of work on my own, but things really turned when I brought on a couple more people, and especially people who are better than me at hopefully everything. It forces me to be better, but everybody on my team challenges me in some way. Even if it's just challenging my patience, that's fine too.
Jesse, where is the growth right now in your company, and where are you have your sights on?
Yeah, so I mentioned that the real estate and that side and the private debt side really kind of opened up when I brought on my partner who was at Blackstone. We're opening up and trying to grow the equities. So we don't do a whole lot of this, but I know I'm in the investment banking world. I'm a little bit like the anti-Wall Street investment banker. I'm not a huge fan of public markets. They're great for an exit, but to actually invest, if you're an employee who's collecting a W-2, you just want to put your money in the market and forget about it for 30 years, perfect. Do that. Those markets are designed to take money from impatient people and give it to patient people. But as an investor, the really, really good deals, they don't even hit the market. Like I mentioned, we got the opportunity to purchase an F1 team. Um, and we got to take a shot at a stadium. Um, we really only touch like the top 5% of deals. Those are the ones that actually make it, into the market and get a couple bids. And if it's not a really, really top deal, we don't really touch it. But there's a lot of investors who maybe have 50K, 100K, 500K to invest. And generally, they end up with really crappy deals because they get shopped around and eventually they end up on, your RIA's desk who he really wants to put you in an annuity because he gets like a 50% commission. But we're starting to open up a little bit of allowing some, Main Street mom and pop type accredited investors into some deals and get them to participate in stuff that's really good and get them to take shots. So we are starting to grow out the equities vertical a little bit. And then at the same time, I think I mentioned, even though our bread and butter is those $100 million deals, we are starting to do some smaller, more traditional. Somebody wants to build a fourplex or acquire a fourplex or something like that, or a refi maybe. We've now opened up that. So I think the biggest growth will come from um, equities. That being said, you look at the macro environment and I see the private credit, the private debt. I really see that growing for another
Yep.
3 to 4 years before the banks rip it back and take their money again. But yeah, I see equities long term growing that out.
How much exposure do you have to medical and medical office space, and what is your perspective of that space? I talk with a lot of investors who have actually done some quite substantial things in this space. I've talked with both the retail front of it. I've also talked with investors who develop trauma centers and hospitals, one in Minnesota, one in South Florida, and it's remarkable what people are able to get into. Do you have any exposure to that? What's your thoughts on the medical space?
Yeah, hospitals, yes. We financed a few hospitals. Those are those large scale, 400, 800 million, $1 billion tickets. We worked with a government they wanted to build a new city, and in that was a hospital, and there was about a $300 million chunk of that deal, which was $2 billion. We have exposure to hospitals. They're great. They really are. One of the more exciting deals that we're working on right now is actually a company that builds. Um, they don't build full hospitals, but they build like trauma centers or urgent care centers or um, those type of facilities. Not like medical offices, although that is if you can underwrite it and you get the right team in there, which is tough because you got to find essentially a doctor who's good at business and also a business person who understands medicine, which
That's
those are
exactly
not super
right.
common.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you can underwrite it and you got the right team, they're really great. Our exposure is finding people who, again, who are either building hospitals or, like I mentioned, they're doing something that's definitely hospital adjacent, building lots and lots of trauma centers or maybe medium scale medical centers, and they're building two in Texas, one in New Jersey, one in Maryland, one in Seattle. So they need a lot of money to get all those going. So those are really exciting. Those are really interesting. There is quite a lot of opportunity in the medical space. I will say you better know your shit.
Amen to that. There's a lot of leverage that comes with it, and there's a lot of risk. I mean, I'm in Texas, right? So we've had hospitals go out of business, and I was surprised that that happens, but it does happen, right? So
Yeah,
uh, people think, these places are making a lot of money, and in many cases they are, but also they're footing the bill in many cases as well,
yeah.
sometimes to a not so good end. But Jesse, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
You can go to www.midcapglobal.com. You can find us there. Anywhere you are in the world, non-sanctioned countries, we don't deliver capital to like North Korea or Russia. But we can finance anything, in a reasonable jurisdiction on the planet. Um, and suppose if you're on social, you can go find our newly minted at MidCap Global um, Instagram page. I'm pretty easy to find on Instagram at Jesse Welch. You're not going to find any business stuff. It's all very personal. But if you really find me that charming, you can try. But yeah, go on the website midcapglobal.com. You can get a hold of us, and we've got a submission form. I think there's also an email there. And then if you're in the Middle East, our Dubai office phone number is there too.
Jesse, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for your hospitality. I appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.